Hey guys, I'm Daniel.
I'm Alex.
Welcome to High Level, and this is our High Level on how the internet works. So before we dive into how the internet works, we want to talk a little bit about the postal system and how the postal system works. Now, I know most of you know how the postal system works, but we're just trying to draw a line between how a more archaic system like the postal system works and the IP world. Communication systems are actually based on each other and they build on each other, so it's no coincidence that these two systems are actually quite closely related. So let's dive right in. So we've got this handsome silhouette of a person here, Jimmy, who's based in the United States, and he's trying to access some content from us, High Level, which are based in Australia. But Jimmy's going to go old school, so he's going to send us some snail mail requesting for some content, and which is going to get to us, and we're going to respond to that by parceling him a CD with the appropriate content. So let's walk through the process. So the first thing Jimmy needs to do is he needs to get the High Level postal address. In order to do so, he probably has to look up a directory, look at the high-level entry in that directory, and find the corresponding postal address. Once he gets that postal address, he slaps it onto his envelope and then gives it to his local post office, and the mailman at that post office will then look at the address that it needs to go to, work out that it needs to go to Australia, put it onto a freight system, so maybe a train, eventually a plane, and then a van or whatever, and it ends up at the High Level office. High Level, we open that letter, look at the content that Jimmy's requesting, we'll fetch the appropriate CD, chuck it in a parcel, and send it back down the other way through the postal system. So now that analogy is kind of fresh in your mind, we want to try and move this to the IP world. So let's pretend that we released a new video, right? And Jimmy doesn't want to wait a whole week to
2, 3, 4 weeks, depending on which mail company you go.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to wait. So he wants to receive his content straight away. So he decides to jump on his PC, navigate to the High Level website, and fetch his content that way. So Alex, mate, I'm going to turn to you, and we're going to try and talk through how the IP world works, and then draw it back to how the postal system works. So take it away.
Cool. Thanks, Daniel, for giving that pressure on the mail system. So effectively, as you mentioned, Jimmy doesn't want to wait many weeks to get his CD, so he wants to do it via the digital realm. So what he will do is, as you mentioned, he will jump on his page, his web browser, and navigate to the High Level website, which would effectively pull content from our web server or server and download it within a matter of minutes. So how does that actually work? So at underlay level, basically there's an IP address, and each IP address is a unique IP address that's been allocated to each device in the network. And effectively, Jimmy's PC would have its own IP address that's unique, and our high-level server here down in Australia would have its own IP address. So effectively, the IP system relies on IP addresses, and these IP addresses are uniquely identifiable addressing for each device out on the internet. So in our case, Jimmy's device would have a unique, so his PC would have a unique IP address, and so would our server, where the high-level content is stored, would have its own unique IP address. So these IP addresses, you're probably wondering where they come from. They come from the service providers, so ISPs, Internet Service Providers, which we use to get connected to the network and provide internet for us. So our high-level server here down in Australia would have had an IP address allocated from our service provider, and likewise for Jimmy in the States, he would have an IP address allocated from his server. They all have pools of addresses that they allocate to their customers. So effectively, you're probably also wondering, you don't remember typing in your IP addresses when you're accessing the browser, and you'd be spot on. So effectively, what we do is we enter the address. So in this case, if we enter the high-level domain, then what happens in the background is there's a DNS system, so the domain name system, that does the mapping. So we'll map the domain that we enter to the IP address for the correlating domain. So in our case, for Jimmy's case, that would happen in the background transparently. So when he enters highlevel.com, that address will get mapped to a high-level server here in Australia, and then that's how the internet will know. That's how his device will know how to get to it, because the internet uses the IP to route the request to our server.
Once Jimmy gets the Jimmy's PC gets the to address that it needs to go to, the high-level IP address, it'll actually craft a packet in the background, which is similar to how
Mail example.
yeah, how Jimmy would write a letter and send it to high level, right? So, and this packet would have the type of content that is trying to request, right? And also the to destination IP address and its own IP address, which is the from address. And this packet will then be forwarded to the internet service provider, which is actually comprised of a network of routers and switches. And the routers will understand this IP address, just like the mailmen do in our postal analogy, if you remember. And then these routers will know to forward packets to the ISP in Australia from the US. So, and the way it does this is it'll utilize a freight system that you're quite familiar with, which is cables, right? The cables are the freight system in the IP world. And more specifically, the cables that connects different countries to each other is the fiber optic network. So there's actually a massive sea of submarine cables in the world that connect different continents and countries to each other, which is basically comprised of cables laid on the sea floor, which is actually quite impressive. So we'll include a link in the description that actually details some of the major submarine cables across the world, and then you'll be able to check out some details like the capacity and the age and the history behind each cable. So it's pretty cool. I encourage you to check it out. So just to tie this up neatly with the bows, so we've got basically Jimmy's PC sending a packet to his local ISP in the United States, and that packet gets forwarded by the freight system, which is the fiber optic network, which then gets to the Australian ISP, which then connects to the high-level server, which that's how the packet basically gets from end to end, and then once the packet gets to the high-level server, it's able to be decoded, and then the content is sent back the other way. So that, in a nutshell, is how the internet works.
That's right, and that happens multiple times for every different clicks he does, and every part of contact that he's trying to get. So it's a never-ending process.
That's right.
Much quicker than the mail example.
Absolutely. So I hope you've learned something here today, and if you have any questions about the individual components that we've listed and talked about, we're happy to take you through that in another video.
We can walk through DNS in detail if you want, and any other videos that you find, any other things you want to know about, just let us know. We'll do our best to get a video out for you.
Yeah. So stay tuned, guys, and thank you. Peace.
Peace.